Welcome, I'm Danny Level 100, and today I'm going to bring you an impressions video, my thoughts and impressions on Lawbreakers, the open beta. The open beta took place July 28th to the 30th. I played the game on PC. I have a lot of things to say about this game, and my first impressions of this game, I played the closed beta. I just didn't really like the aesthetic, and the aesthetic is something that hasn't changed in the game. For some reason, the first thing that comes to mind is like dubstep. I get a really strong like dubstep kind of vibe from this game. I mean, overall, it looks really good. A lot of the VFX and models and things look fantastic. At the same time, nothing really sticks out to me. There's not anything in the world that really sticks out to me as iconic. It looks good, it runs smooth, but nothing, like I said, nothing sticks out to me. Nothing really blows me away. In terms of gameplay, a lot of people are comparing this to Overwatch, and there's a few reasons why. Mostly because this is another, what I like to call hero shooter. Well, back in my day in Call of Duty 3, you just played a nameless grunt. You chose a class, you got a weapon, and you went out there and you played. And then we evolved with that in Call of Duty 4, where you got a class and you kind of customized your loadout with perks and abilities. Now we're in an era where we're all playing like MOBAs and FPS games now, where you just have heroes with different powers and abilities and an ultimate. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this new thing, and where Overwatch is essentially a MOBA in first person, Lawbreakers doesn't have the MOBA style of multiple lanes, and the class system isn't as important. For example, in League of Legends, you have specific roles and classes, and they make and break your team. Same goes for Overwatch. You're not going to have much success on a team if you have no healers, or you have no tanks, or etc. In Lawbreakers, these roles are more about what kind of flavor you want to add to the game over what kind of role and asset you're going to be to the team. I've noticed that a lot of the rounds are a lot longer than you would expect. A game mode such as Turf War takes place over multiple rounds. On average, I spent about 15 to 20 minutes in a match, depending on how close the game was. About halfway through the match, I was kind of like, well, is the game done yet? And the answer was no. One thing I noticed is that many game modes have pretty high score caps. For a game of Blitzball, you have to score 8 points in order to win the game. And that seems kind of high in my opinion. Most capture the flag type modes is like 3 or 5. There's something I don't like about this system. If you're playing with a team of people that aren't very coordinated or good, then you're most likely going to get stomped. Now, my first few games, it was just our team getting stomped, 0-7, 1-7, and part of me just was thinking to myself, just let the slaughter end. And that's one thing that I didn't really like about this game either. If you're new to this game, you're kind of just tossed in with the wolves. The tutorials in this game are one of my biggest pet peeves right now. The tutorials are simply just YouTube videos. The fact that there's not a way to sit down and play in the game and maybe test out the characters at a practice range or something, I find it to be not very welcoming of new players. The thing is, I did get the hang of a few characters. I played the Vanguard the most. I learned to play the Wraith. I touched the Medic a little bit, but I didn't really like her overall. And no matter what class you play, all the weapons are identical, so there's nothing to worry about. If you're on the Law side or the Breaker side, no matter what class you play, you use the same weapon. The only difference is the hero behind the weapon. To clarify, if you choose Vanguard class and you're on the Law side, you're ultimately identical with the Breaker side. And some of these ultimates, they seem a little out of place to me, and some are very situational. Overall, the weapons I wasn't a big fan of. The accuracy on most weapons is pretty terrible, and that's really hard when enemies are zipping through the air and you need that accuracy to take them out. The most accurate weapon in the game that I experienced was the Omega Revolver from the Gunslinger class. If you use that weapon well, you can really punish people, which is great. During my time in the open and closed beta, I noticed that matchmaking felt like it took forever. It wasn't really uncommon for me to get stuck kind of in a matchmaking loop where games just wouldn't start. I'm not sure if that is something on Boss Key's side, maybe a server problem, a matchmaking issue altogether, something technical, or if that was just because there's a lack of a player base. But if it was just something technical, hopefully they can fix it. Even during the open beta, I got stuck in a lobby that was just waiting to begin. Luckily, it was stuck during the warm-up time, so I was able to test out a couple characters and learn the basics. And speaking of which, it seems really odd to me that if you want to switch characters, you have to wait till you die. If you go back to your spawn, I was trying to switch characters, and it might have just been a one-time glitch, but I wasn't able just to switch inside of spawn. I had to die in order to switch characters, something that seems really odd and possibly an oversight. But one thing I didn't like about this game was the lack of kill cams. The fact that there's no kill cams in this game, it made it very difficult to see where I was getting killed from or who was attacking me. And without knowing who killed me or how they killed me, it was a little annoying. And yes, the game does tell you the name of the person and the weapon they used. Oftentimes, death comes quickly. I think this is an effort to speed up the overall pace of the game, but unfortunately, I think that's a little counterintuitive, because to me, if they want to speed up the pace of the game, I would remove the healing stations. The healing stations, they could be a little counterintuitive, but they also might be designed in a way that you have to basically sit out real quick to heal up before you get out. It's almost like a penalty box in a game of hockey. But at the same time, I feel like there should have been a smoother way to heal. When I played the game, I never got healed. I don't think I've ever played a match with a medic character. I played medic, but healing seems not as effective, and I do applaud the designers for coming up with a way to use drones to heal. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like the medic's going to be an underplayed class, just in my experience with the open beta and the closed beta. So for now, you end up just running back to the penalty box to heal. Overall, the level design is mostly pretty good. The only thing I didn't like is that the transition between an area with zero gravity and an area with regular gravity, that transition just seems, I felt like the game should have just been all zero gravity. I didn't like having to be in a non-zero gravity area and just feeling kind of punished or slow. If you're not zipping through the air, you feel very slow and very vulnerable, which is great because they want to enforce that playstyle on people. They want people to move and act, but at the same time, I don't like, sometimes it feels like you're just unloading into people. You're just firing, emptying your clip into an enemy, and they just walk away unscathed. The music in the game is something that I really like that much. But then again, my overall impression of this game is, it's not a bad game. Like, don't get me wrong, my overall impression seems negative, and it definitely is a little on the negative side, but it's not a bad game. Biggest problem for this game right now is that it doesn't really have any staying power. I played about an hour on my stream, and I was kind of bored with it. Like, what is there for me to do? You do unlock stash drops. Cute, they put the little mustache on the box. That's something that, I mean, there's plenty of loot. There's stickers and skins, and a lot of the skins are actually really cool. So one of the most positive things I could say is that the skins that you unlock for your weapons are probably amongst the coolest I've ever seen in any FPS. And like, hats off to the artists behind that, because they are some really cool skins. The game modes and everything, I can't really recommend this game too much. I personally didn't have all that much fun with it, and this might sound incredibly nitpicky, but my least favorite mode is Blitzball. Everyone's a fan of Rick and Morty, and I am too, but the fact that the Blitzball is voiced by Justin Roiland, you know, the voice of Morty, it's just really annoying. I don't want 20 minutes of Morty. One of my bigger problems with a game like Blitzball is, how does it fit into the world of Lawbreakers? In Overwatch, there is environmental storytelling that kind of fills you in on what's going on in the world. On King's Row, one team is trying to set off an EMP inside of an Omnic city, and one team is trying to prevent that from happening. In Lawbreakers, there's Blitzball. Now, why are the cops trying to get a Blitzball away from the criminals? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what's going on. I mean, the only thing I like about the environment is that they make reference to stuff around Los Angeles, like Pasadena and Santa Monica. As somebody from Southern California, I like that. But that really doesn't mean anything. This is my first attempt at making an impressions video, and if you like it, let me know. If you think I was being a little negative, let me know. If you agree or disagree, let me know. But I do plan on hopefully making more impression videos on more betas and demos as time goes on. So thank you very much, everyone. I'll catch you around. Take care.